Hi everyone, today is Sunday, January the 16th, 2011. I think this is my first video of 2011. I'll do an update video in a little while. This is a video response to a friend here on YouTube. So, first I want to say that I'm going to try very hard to make this short. I know I'm probably going to end up rambling. I've tried to tape this before and it was like way too long, so I took some notes to try to keep me on track of what I want to say. And I won't feel bad if you don't watch this, so, you know, this is just for, like I said, this is a video response to a friend here on YouTube that made a video response to someone else that was having a hard time with life. And this is a video response to them and kind of just what I've learned through my journey through life so far. I've learned a lot, but I haven't always put it to good use. But I won't mention any specific names for privacy reasons, but I'll send the person a message a little later and hope maybe they'll watch the video. And so, like I said, I took some notes, so if I look down, you'll know I'm looking at my notes to make sure I keep on track. First, I want to start out by saying that I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to say that I have life figured out. I'm nowhere near being put together and on stable ground. I'm still trying to figure life out. I have a long, long way to go. This is just what works for me and what has worked for me in the past as I dig through the wreckage of my past and try to put myself back together again. I've been dealing with panic attacks, major depression, a little bit of OCD. OCD is worse at times. It's not constant, but it's there. And as well as an eating disorder, which is pretty obvious. I'm a compulsive overeater, as well as I've had bulimia before. Bulimia is not really my weakness, whatever you want to call it. Mostly it's just compulsive overeating. I have done the chew spit thing before, just craziness, but and I've had this everything probably for a little over 20 years. Now, when I say 20 years, don't panic and think, oh my God, am I going to do this for 20 years? I can't do this for 20 years. The 20 years that I have struggled with this hasn't been continuous. There's sometimes where it's worse than others, and there's been times where a few years stretch that I lived a quote-unquote normal life. But then there were times when it's been really bad. Like, prior to 6 months ago, for the past 4 years, I've had continuous panic attacks, daily panic attacks. And I didn't leave my room for 4 years. Literally didn't leave my room. And some days I didn't even leave my bed. So, like I said, I've been struggling with it for a very long time. A lot of the reasons why it has lasted so long is because I gave up on living and I gave up on life. I let the depression and Satan, I really believe it is Satan, control me. And I will say that I have never contemplated suicide. I think there are two main reasons why I have never contemplated it. Was because, first, I'm a Christian. And I believe that if you commit suicide that you won't go to heaven. Now, I don't know if that's right or wrong. That's just what I believe. And I'm not saying that someone is bad for committing suicide, because there's a lot of times when depression gets so bad that someone feels there is no alternative, but there is an alternative. That's what I'm trying to get at here. But the way I feel, I don't feel that I'll go to heaven if I commit suicide. So my ultimate goal is to get to heaven to be with my mom and my grandma. So I don't think about suicide. And the other reason is because I feel that if I'd ever attempt suicide, and what I feel would be a worse alternative to dying would be maybe it not turning out the way I planned and being in a vegetative state for years and years, or maybe being brain damaged and having to live the rest of my life that way. that would be worse than dealing with the depression and anxiety every day. So I can't say that I know what that feels like, because I've never gotten to the point where suicide was an option for me. There have been a lot of times where I just don't want to go on anymore, and that's a lot of why I just gave up living. I just laid in bed and didn't do anything. But suicide was never actually an option for me. As I said, I'm a Christian, and God is the most important part of my life. If it wasn't for Him, I could not face every day. There was no way I could face every day. Two of my favorite sayings are, if God brings you to it, He'll see you through it, and God never gives you more than you can handle. I think that for everything we go through in life, there's a purpose for it. For every roadblock, for every mountain we have to climb, there's something that God wants us to learn. And once we've learned it and God sees that we have learned it, He will remove that obstacle from our lives, and we'll never struggle with that again. We'll never have to struggle with that again. That's probably why I've struggled so hard and for so long with my anxiety and my depression and my eating disorder, is because I'm very self-willed. And for many, many years, I didn't rely on God. I always knew God was there, and I was the kind of person who would, if I needed something, I would pray. I would be like, oh God, please, please, please. But I didn't have a close relationship with God. I didn't make Him a part of my daily life. And now that I'm learning to follow His will instead of mine, life is getting easier. Not perfect by any means. There is no such thing as perfect, but it's not a walk in the park. But it's much, much improved from where I was. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So, yeah, I'm much, much improved from where I was. About 12 years ago, I stumbled on a group called Overeaters Anonymous. It follows the 12-step programs of Alcoholics Anonymous, except they replace the references with alcohol with food references. And I think that all the principles and steps in the program can relate to everyday life. You can find it online. You can go to OA.org or overeatersanonymous.org. And there's a lot of information, books you can order, and you don't even have to order the books. There's just a lot of information online about it. But one of the main principles in the program is to accept life on life's terms. For me, the more I tried to control life and tried to make things the way I thought they should be, the worse my depression and anxiety got, and the worse my eating got. My eating fell, I eat to stuff down my feelings. There's a lot of the reasons why I did the bulimia too is because I couldn't control anything in my life. I couldn't control how people treated me. I couldn't control the circumstances I was in. But I could control the food. I can control what I eat, how much of it I eat, and the way it makes me feel. But when as I'm learning, I've learned this a long time ago, but I didn't always rely on it. You have to accept life on life's terms. There's nothing, I'm trying to think how I want to say it. Nothing goes the way you want it to. And you can't make people react the way you think they should react. You can't make life go the way you want it to go. Someone was saying that they tried to make their mom approve of them. To be the perfect daughter, to clean, to wash dishes, to do things to make them approve. But in reality, if they're not going to approve of you the way you are, there's no amount of dishes you can wash, or there's no amount of trying to be perfect that you can do, because there is no perfect. And really, it has nothing to do with you. The reason why they don't accept you isn't because of you. It's something in them. I've learned that a large part of what a large part of caused my depression is trying to please other people and to be what other people thought I should be. I felt I couldn't be good enough, I couldn't be smart enough, I couldn't be pretty enough, so why bother? And the more I tried to be the person they wanted me to be, the worse my depression and anxiety got. I just gave up. But I've learned through life and my 35 years on this earth that being me is enough. I'm okay the way I am. I don't have to try to be a better person. I mean, you always have to strive to be a better person, to do what God wants you to be, but you're good enough the way you are. You don't have to lose weight to suit other people. You don't have to be on the honor roll to suit other people. You're good enough the way you are. As long as I keep my side of the street clean and do what I need to do for me and for God, what God wants me to do, then I'm okay. That doesn't mean that you can that you don't have to go to extremes like, like I said, people please, or just do nothing. It's just, as long as you're doing what you feel God wants you to be doing, then that's when I feel that I'm okay with who I am. Not having the supportive family is something I didn't have to deal with. My mom was always extremely close to me and approved of me no matter what. Even through all of my problems and depression and anxiety, she was always there for me until she passed away. And, but family doesn't always have to be blood. A church family can be a great asset in dealing with depression and anxiety, as well as just good for your soul in general. Having people with the same beliefs as you that you can talk to and rely on, it can give you support and encouragement. It's important, and I think that a church family is a really good place to get that at, as well as a 12-step program. In a 12-step program, 12-step programs aren't just for eating. There's alcoholics 12-step programs. There's for alcohol, food, gambling, sex, drugs, self-harm. There's like all kinds of 12-step programs out there where people with the same issues as you, they know what you're going through, and it makes it easier to cope with things when you have somebody that knows how you feel. When you're in the depths of the depression and the eating disorder and the panic, you feel that no one else feels the way you do, that you're the only one. And that's speaking for me. I know other people have shared that that's how they have felt too, but for me, that's how I felt, that nobody else could possibly know how horrible I feel and how much it hurts inside, and that I was just the only one, and I felt really lonely. Once I started going to the 12-step programs and knew that other people can relate to how I felt, I started to think, wow, I'm not the only one. Feeling less lonely really helped with the depression too, because I didn't feel lonely. Another thing that has always made me feel better about myself has been when I tried to help others. Whether it's volunteering in a nursing home or a hospital, or just doing something nice for someone. Maybe it doesn't even have to cost money. Just print a card on a printer and take it to a neighbor. Put a nice little note, an elderly neighbor that may be alone, that doesn't have anyone. Spend an afternoon with them, or even just a few minutes with them, talking to them to see how they're feeling, or anything that you can do to get out of your head. I learned in OA that my head is what makes me sick. I listen to my head. When I start listening to reality and to God and not myself, that's when things started getting better for me. I have too much time to bounce things around in my head, and they tell you in 12-step that it's squirrels in your head. And the chattering is what you hear, not necessarily actually hearing voices. I don't mean like, a psychological disorder, hearing voices, but when you talk to yourself, the self-talk, that's when you start thinking, that's when the depression for me and anxiety got worse, is when I started thinking, my anxiety comes in when I start thinking that there's something wrong with me physically. Like, if I have a pain in my arm, I'll think, oh my God, it's a heart attack, oh my God. And then I sit there and I dwell and I think, in my head, I keep thinking all these things that could go wrong. I have like this whole big scenario planned out about from leaving my apartment, point A, to getting to the hospital, to going through surgery, to rehab. I mean, all these things, I sit and the anxiety just builds and builds and builds. But if I get out of my head and I do something for someone else, and I don't sit and have time to think about everything that in my head, that listen to the chatter, I feel so much better about myself. So I hope this hasn't been too long. I saw the video that my friend posted this morning, and I watched the video that it was in response to, and it really scared me to hear someone talk about thinking about suicide. Just remember that find someone to confide in, whether it's a relative, a teacher, a pastor, even if it's someone on the internet, a friend on the internet. I mean, I would even be willing to talk to anyone. I don't judge people. I have no room to judge anyone. I don't. God is the only person I feel that judges, and I'm in no position to judge anyone. And I'm willing to listen, to anyone, if anyone needs someone to talk to. Even if it's making videos and talking, just talk and get it out of your head. Get the thoughts out of your head. As long as they stay in your head and stay bottled up, that's when it gets worse. Talking about things takes the power away from them. And I truly believe it's Satan trying to control me. Through the Christian living in the Bible, I really believe that it's Satan. And I do my best to take the power away from Satan, because I won't let him win this battle. I won't. Life will get better. And my grandma had this saying that when I was younger, I hated it. I hated it with a passion, because it seemed so depressing. But when I got older and I thought about what it really meant, it's really true. She said a lot. She would say, this too shall pass. And it will. Life will not always be this hard. As hard as it seems right now, and as long as it seemed hard, it won't always be this hard. I promise. It won't. My life has changed greatly in 6 months, and if God will do it for me, He'll do it for everyone. You just have to rely on Him and talk to Him, and meditation has really helped me in the last few months as well. Alright, I'm going to stop rambling, and thank you all if you watched to the end of this. I appreciate it. I know it's probably long. I hope everyone has a good Sunday, and I will make an update video about myself and my life more later. So thank you very much for watching.